Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick. I'm Matt, that's Alonso. We're talking about some of the breaking news over the weekend in Hollywood. First thing, we saw a trailer for a trailer. Continuing a trend that neither of us like, a lot of people don't like. We're teasing trailers and
Look, if I wanted to see an ad for an ad, I would go to Comic-Con.
Yeah, right, exactly. Really, and at this point, a trailer for Transformers is an ad for an ad, because Transformers is a series.
That's a whole other thing.
Right, and not just for the toys. So yeah, Jurassic World or Fallen Kingdom dropped the new teaser for the trailer that opens on Thursday, or releases, whatever. Yeah.
Is it? I mean, usually when a studio is, I mean, not always, but a lot of times when a studio is launching a trailer, they're attaching it to whatever their new big movie is that week. But Universal doesn't have one this week, so
no, I don't think so. Well,
they're just
let's watch the clip, right, and then we can really harsh on it.
Okay.
Run! Run!
That's it?
Run, okay. Like we're supposed to be excited about that.
Okay.
I mean, look, we made you sit through it too, but yeah. Look, I know that there's a lot of people who mind a lot of traffic and get a lot of mileage out of talking about trailers. And if it's a Star Wars trailer, okay, I can get that excited, but not so much Jurassic World, Fallen Kingdom.
Jurassic World is going to have to work on me because I did not care for the last one.
I thought it was fine. It was fine. It was fine. It was fine.
Not a fan.
Okay.
Not a fan. I know a lot of people loved it and whatever.
Now we have some new people coming to the franchise here. Justice Smith is going to be in this, and then Jeff Goldblum returns.
Really?
Yes. All right. So obviously we don't like teaser trailers.
No, that's
or teasers for trailers. It's made us go crazy.
That's some bullshit. I'm sorry. Yeah, if you're gonna. Right.
Let's talk about something that's not some BS.
Okay, let's.
LA Film Critics Awards.
Yes.
This weekend.
That was, I am a member. Yeah, we voted yesterday. We chose our award winners. We gave Best Film of the Year to Call Me By Your Name. And its director, Luca Guadagnino, tied for Best Director with Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water. Our acting winners were
Willem Dafoe, Best Supporting Actor for The Florida Project.
Laurie Metcalf, Supporting Actress for Lady Bird. Sally Hawkins, Best Actress for Shape of Water, and Timothée Chalamet for Call Me By Your Name for Best Actor.
Yeah, and then Best Foreign Language Film, a movie that I know you really liked, BPM.
Yes, tied with Loveless, from Russian film from the director of Leviathan.
Best Screenplay.
Best Screenplay went to Jordan Peele for Get Out.
Yeah, there's some interesting Best Editing to Dunkirk.
Yep.
Best Production Design, Blade Runner 2049. Any ones that you were really surprised at?
Not really. I mean, it's funny. This is a strong year. You know, I think a lot of times you roll around this time of year and it just becomes a thing of like, what do I like? There have been years where filling out a top 10 list seems like, oh, can I just do 8? And then sometimes you get years like, can I do 15? Right. And this is one of those latter years. So what's cool is that I think we really spread the wealth this year. You don't see one movie kind of raking in everything, which I think is a testament to how strong it was. And in pretty much in every category, there were a lot of close third and fourth places. Like, for example, Best Supporting Actress we gave to Laurie Metcalf. Our runner-up was Mary J. Blige for Mudbound. But there was a lot of love in the room for Lois Smith, for Marjorie Prime. There was a lot of love in the room for Tiffany Haddish for Girls Trip.
That was one of my favorite performances this year.
Absolutely, yeah. The New York Film Critics honored her, and I'm thrilled that they did. So there were a lot of, every category had some, definite like people who were nipping at the heels of everybody who won. So it wasn't like these vast differences. What's weird is when I sit in this room at someone's house and we do this vote and it goes out into the world, and then when it goes out into the world, it all becomes boiled down to like, well, here's how often LAFCA has picked the Oscar in this category and that category, and here's how this is helping this movie's chances and hurting that movie's chances. It's like that in the room, nobody ever talks about that shit ever. Like it's so not at all what we're interested in. And then other people will say, oh, well, LAFCA, they like to be contrarian and they go out of their way to pick these weird choices. I'm like, as our former colleague James Rocky once said, like, if you think that film critics can be sort of goaded into making a decision for a specific reason, try getting them all to agree on a pizza order.
Right.
I mean, yeah. So we don't believe me. We don't sit around going, all right, who can we really annoy people by picking who's out of the, who's obscure? Like, no, it's
who is Disney bribing us to piss off?
Exactly. Yeah, but it's it's like you've got a room full of people who are used to their. I mean, this is with all critics groups. You have a room full of people who are used to their word being the final say, and now having to reach compromise with their peers, But at the same token, we've seen a lot more movies than most people have, and so if we dig a little deeper and pick out something that you hadn't thought of or hadn't heard of or didn't really register with you, it's our job.
Well, and I think that's one of the best parts about doing what we do is being able to come across gems and really help kind of champion them that otherwise don't have the opportunity to get in front of a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, no question. And for as much as people like to be all, oh, film critics, you hate movies, you hate everything. It's like, no, I mean, the thing that we live for is to tell people, hey, go see this, it's great. I would much rather spend my time guiding people to like indies or foreign films or even just sort of like off-kilter studio movies that are interesting and different, and maybe they're not being marketed right, or maybe it doesn't sound appealing to you, but trust me, you'll love it. I'm much happier doing that than saying, oh yeah, this giant, expensive, stupid, built by committee thing is the piece of shit that you imagined it would be, don't go see it.
I agree, totally agree. All right, we have more news to do. We are now in the second half of our news segment, which is the half that we're going to cover obvious and then maybe potential misbehavior by people.
Yes.
First story, the Freddie Mercury movie has been halted, or the production has been halted because Bryan Singer has disappeared from set.
It all seems very vague. There's something about health issues, and if that is the case, I hope that he gets better. But the timing is questionable.
The timing is questionable. Now, I've read in a couple places this happened on a couple previous movies that he worked on. One of the X-Men movies and I believe Usual Suspects, where he just kind of disappeared for a while.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
Maybe not Usual Suspects, but there were it was one X-Men movie, and I don't remember what the other one was completely, but he had a similar thing. But based on the lawsuit, the accusations by the one particular man against Bryan Singer, it's hard not to think in this day and age, as we're getting more and more and more awareness of accusations and the misbehavior that people are doing and the assaults and the harassment, it's hard not to look at this, somebody who's already been accused of that, and think, ooh, I don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's happening with him. Certainly, I think if, outlets like the New York Times and the New Yorker had people like Harvey Weinstein in their sites and were doing the research and doing the legwork and finding the people who would go on the record and have stories to tell, I could see where Bryan Singer would be the kind of person they would investigate.
Right.
And I don't know what they'll find or if they'll find anything, but certainly if we're talking about like names that get bandied about in this conversation, whether they deserve to be or not, his is a name that comes up. And so
the guy that's been working as a gaffer for 10 years on mid-range movies, that's a legit problem too, but the New York Times isn't chasing that one.
Exactly. So yeah, given the circumstances of the world right now, this reads oddly, but we don't know. All we know is what we're being told. So
right. So who knows what's going on? Then the other part of that is we have an update on shooting or the 6th season and what's going to get shot for House of Cards. And Netflix has just announced that they're going to shoot 8 episodes without Kevin Spacey at all, but they're going to shoot out the season.
They had already mentioned that the season was going to proceed without him. But yeah, look, more Robin Wright. I'm in. I frankly couldn't finish season 5 just because I feel like we're living season 5 right now. And so, I need some escapism, and that was just not it. I was like, okay, look, if I want to feel this shitty, I'll just turn to MSNBC back on,
Right, and I think we're almost at a point where Veep's going to stop being funny. It's like, oh yeah, that's not as funny as what we're seeing either.
I'm sure they'll manage a work through for this, but anyway, yeah, I think given the circumstances, this is the path that makes the most sense, and Robin Wright can carry that show like nobody's business.
Yeah, I'd love to see that be a really solid show with her in the driver's seat, kind of as president. I think that could be really successful. You have to imagine the Paul, and like when that show comes back on, people are going to talk about Kevin Spacey, and you almost wonder, is his career over?
I mean, it's early to say, but yeah, it's interesting. We have All the Money in the World opening later in December with Spacey having been removed and his scenes being reshot with Christopher Plummer, and the idea obviously was to try and remove him from the conversation and not have him overwhelm the rest of the film, but people are still going to be talking about that when that movie comes out. Like, if anybody knows anything about All the Money in the World or thinking about All the Money in the World, they're not thinking about it as, oh yeah, that movie about J. Paul Getty, or oh, the new Ridley Scott. They went, oh yeah, that's that movie that Kevin Spacey was in, and then they took him out of it. So, I suspect that yes, a lot of the conversation around House of Cards season 6, even without Kevin Spacey, is, oh look, it's the season without Kevin Spacey. Yeah. But at least they're having it.
Right. I hope it ends up well.
Yeah.
We want everything to be good.